Welcome to the Third Win channel. Today we're doing the second episode of Angels and Devils, which will be victorious. And if you don't know how the show works, we basically rate the characters of a show from most angelic to most devilish or most good to most evil. I have kind of the definitions on the screen right now. You can pause if you want to read it. And without further ado, let's get into our number 14 pick because we're going to have 14 characters, which is Lane. Lane is our perfect angel, our all good guy. He helps our characters at the school kind of figure out their problems, and there's not really anything bad to say about him. We don't really get too much of his character, but we get the idea that he likes to help people, and obviously that's a good thing. Very virtuous. Moving on to number 13 is Burf. Again, good. We don't have anything really bad to say about him. He's a minor character. We don't get to expand too much on him, but he's just good. He doesn't show any signs of doing anything bad. Next, we got Andre. Andre is one of our main characters, and here we can start talking more about the character and why they're good. So Andre is good because he's just always so friendly. He's always willing to help someone write a song. He expresses so many positive emotions, and he's a great friend. There are maybe a few moments where he can get a little bit angry, or kind of gets bothered by someone wasting his time, but he never shows any kind of personality traits, or there are really no events where we get to see him do anything really bad that would make him a not good guy. Moving on to number 11, we have Beck. Beck can be kind of seen as sort of the leader of the friend group, especially probably before Jade, Tori came to the school. But I'd say he's definitely a good guy. The reason why he's a little lower than some of the previous people we have on the list is because there are suspicions that maybe he has tendencies to make Jade jealous on purpose for fun. But other than that, there isn't really anything else that I can think of that would be maybe evil about Beck. He's always really willing to help his friends, and he's really friendly, chill guy. He doesn't get angry ever. And yeah, moving on to number 10, we have Kat. So Kat is, you can't really say, like, even though she has her periods, not that period, but in terms of her some events where she gets a little crazy, as Kat will, or does something irresponsible. She's very childish in her manner, in the way she acts. So it's to be expected. And I just don't see her being evil, deep inside as a person. Although there is one act that really pushes her below Andre and Beck, which is that I can think of. That is when she uses Xinyan because she asks him if he has a credit card so she can keep buying her online stuff, which is quite deceptive because she is not into Xinyan. Moving on to number 9, we have Helen, which is our first Kat was a good character as well. So now we're moving into neutral ground. So Helen, we can't really say if she's really good or bad, in my opinion. She's kind of in between. She's focused on her job, herself mostly, and the only thing I will say that, like, I can't really, a lot of things are probably good about her, but the one thing that I can think of that is bad about her is she makes these kind of life-changing decisions for these students in the blink of an eye. She doesn't think too much over it, and she just makes this decision that could change someone's life forever, by hosting the auditions for, like, re-auditions for the school. So I mean, I guess that's to be expected at some point when you're going to a school like this. So I wouldn't say she's evil. Moving on, we have Toris Parents, and they get a lot of critique from the audience for being very ignorant, and I agree. But I wouldn't say this is evil. They're feeding their children. They get provided for. They seem to be very wealthy, especially living in the area they are. They seem to have the nicest house of everyone in the show. So I know that isn't necessarily a factor for being good, but I don't have anything directly to say that they're evil. They're just kind of neutral. They're not really focused on in a show like the show in Victorious. So yes, they could be a little higher on this list, but I'd say this is about right. Moving on, we have Andre's grandma, who is neutral, but this is where the neutral starts going over more to the evil side. I'd say the only real thing, like she's neutral, I think is a very good way to put Andre's grandma. But the one thing is that she doesn't really like people, and I don't know how virtuous that can be seen as, you know. And obviously, she takes up a lot of Andre's time. She has obviously has some kind of mental condition, but she's very um resource. You know, maybe she's making too many problems and wants too much attention. But you know, that's a bit deep, and I don't want to get into that. So next, we got a number six. We got Psychowitz. Psychowitz, he's not. I want to point out that I don't think anyone on this list is really evil, like truly evil, but we have, you know, these shades in between. Psychowitz is closer to the evil side, but still neutral, just because we know some things that he's mentioned, like losing his driver's license and, you know, problems with his home life and just these various things he mentions. I'll forget now. You could bring up something like, oh, inviting kids to his house or trying to like scare the his students and stuff like that. But I don't think that that kind of nitpicky stuff isn't something you want to bring up in a children's show, um, well, teen show, whatever. But Psychowitz, we don't know enough. But you know, he's leaning more on the evil side, but he's still a neutral character for me. Number five, and we're moving into our first evil character. I think a few of you are already thinking, "Who? Wait a second, I haven't seen a lot of these main characters still." And first, we have Tori. I want to point out straight away, I'm not a Tori hater. I actually think she's quite a good character. I have never had any problems with Tori, but I do think that she is not as nice, you know, on purpose, not as nice as maybe you kind of believe sometimes, like for watching through the first time. She does do. I believe that some characters' worst acts can define them, and Tori on two separate occasions kisses another girl's boyfriend, um, creating rifts in her friendships. Obviously, this is something that you know you can't really consider that person evil if they do that, but you're because you're not really like harming them physically, but you are harming them mentally, and you're showing the kind of person you are. And this lands Tori number five on this list because although she's a really most of the time she's a very nice person, she always tries to solve problems, help her friends, and we've seen this a lot. Help her sister. Those few events here and there that kind of show her weaknesses, I think that swayed her more to the evil side if we have to kind of think about all the characters in the show. And it truly is evil when you two of your best friends, you do that to two of your best friends, Jade and Kat. So, yeah, this was a hard one to place, I have to say. But I did place it here and right next to her. And I think that they could have been interchangeable in terms of placement. I have Trina. Trina doesn't have these egregious acts that Tori has, like you know, the whole kissing boyfriends thing, but she is consistently selfish and rude, I'd say as well. You know, again, none of the characters in the show are truly evil, but this is going more on the evil side. I don't think that people find it pleasant to be around Trina just because she is so self-centered and rude. And that's all I really have to say about her. She's shown moments of promise. She does really love her sister. But there's just too many moments to name where she's just selfish. Moving on, at number three, and this is where we really get, this is where I get a little excited. I have stronger points for the next three. These are the three most evil. So, Xinyan is really only here for one moment, which I thought was striking. I thought it was defining for Xinyan. You know, up until this moment, he was all the way down on this list. But there's a moment on an episode, I think it's called you know, something victorious in the sky or something, but basically they're on a video chat and Jade notices that Xinyan is in her house. Now, that is not acceptable under any circumstance, and that is a sure sign of stalking or worse. That is extreme, I'd say very close to evil behavior. So invading someone's privacy like that is just not okay. That's a criminal thing to do. But other than that, I don't really think Xinyan is evil, but that act is very extreme. And I just want to mention very quickly that the first episode was iCarly, and maybe if you like Victorious, I think you're likely to like iCarly as well. So you can check out that one if you're interested. But moving on, who is our number one and two? I think most of you know which characters are left here. There's two main characters, and at number two, by I think a good margin, is Robbie. Um, so Robbie is here because of a similar reason that Xinyan was at number three, and it's one episode called Robbie Razzi. This was a very there's also another factor, but first I want to cover Robbie Razzi. Robbie Razzi is an episode where Robbie exposes people at his school, especially his friends, on different kind of embarrassing things that they've done, or he highlights Tori's pimple or Andre's kind of like that he likes ketchup, but he over exaggerates and he embarrasses his friends. And his friends ask him to please stop or take it down. Robbie's like, no, this made me famous, la la la. It doesn't matter. Um, you know, him betraying his friends like that is such a telling sign for me of who the person he is. And that doesn't even mention Rex, which is part of Robbie's character, right? He is a ventriloquist. So Rex is very, very rude, in a similar way to Trina. So those two things combined made me think Robbie's number two, and I think that this is a bit of a shocker. Um, this is definitely, I think, the most controversial pick on this list. I think a lot of you will disagree. But moving on to number one, I think everyone kind of saw this coming, and I tried to find ways around it, but in the end, I thought, yeah, I think Jade is the most evil character. She is the devil of this show. Um, the reasons why she is very filled with anger and sadness and even shows kind of negative energy towards her boyfriend a lot of times. But I think the one act that for me solidified her place at number one was when she tried to basically poison, or I mean, she tried to expose an allergy Tori had by going through her medical records, which could have, ended very badly and caused, physical injury to her. She also forcefully shaved our cat's head, and overall, Jade, as everyone knows, is this kind of like not bully type, but kind of as well. So all these factors together just make me think Jade. Yeah, I don't know. But that being said, I don't think she is truly like those acts are terrible, but I don't think she is evil. I think that she's just been through trauma. She has daddy issues, and she's just very insecure when it comes deep down into it, and that's why she acts this way. I think that this is a kind of teenager kind of thing, and I think Jade in her older years will change dramatically as a person and not maybe be so mean and try to hurt others. But that's my list. That's my second episode of Angels and Devils. I hope you guys enjoyed. And let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with me. Spoiler warning, you guys are going to disagree with me. And what is the next series you want to see on this series? Okay, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.